we have to play the John Coleman from CNN this weekend because
it's really good.
You want to play that now, and then we'll go to Tom Harkin? Do we have time?
Yeah.
Let's play that here. Here's the Weather Channel. Remember, science is always right. Here's the Weather Channel founder, John Coleman, on CNN this weekend. Cut 398.
A man who co-founded the Weather Channel thinks climate change is a hoax.
This is on CNN with Brian Stelter. And listen to this setup, which I love.
His name is John Coleman. Before launching the Weather Channel in the early 1980s, he was the original weatherman on Good Morning America. And after launching the channel, he was also a local weatherman in New York, Chicago, and San Diego. Now he's retired, but his recent open letter saying that climate change is, quote, not valid, got a lot of attention and landed him in prime time on Fox News. So what did the Weather Channel do? It very publicly disavowed him. After all, for those who believe that the climate is changing and fast, this is a life and death matter. I've said before here on Reliable Sources that I don't think there are two equal sides to climate change. The scientific consensus is that it's real. The debate is over what to do about it. And the press has to be careful about creating this notion of sides.
Can you believe that? The press has to be careful about creating the notion of sides. There aren't two sides to this issue. That is unbelievable.
Very typical of the way this issue is covered, unfortunately.
So horrible. How can you, as a news station, tell people that there's not two sides to an issue? I'm sorry, there's not two sides.
Well, this is where you get to Holocaust denial, right?
Has Fox ever done that? In the history of their network, have they ever said, I'm sorry, we don't want to create this notion that there's two sides to the healthcare debate? There isn't.
Well, that's what they always do. That's what progressives always do.
It's amazing.
It's what they always do. There's no two sides to anything.
Yeah.
There's no two sides on the gay marriage issue. My side is
true.
Government should not be involved. That's not even valid. We don't even argue it. We don't even talk about that. That's not a side. You're just a hater.
Yeah.
My issue with climate change. Climate is always changing. When you dig up the old SUV to show me what caused the ice age, you let me know.
And then the warming after the ice age.
Right. Climate is always constantly changing.
Yeah.
When you also tell me that everything I learned in school about how the trees breathe in what we exhale and how it's symbiotic. When you tell me that all of that stuff is a lie, then I'll begin to believe your stupid hockey stick. When you start to tell me that, okay, wait a minute, we got the global warming thing wrong, and you can explain it on how you got it wrong, instead of just changing it, instead of just going, what, we never said that.
Yeah, well,
then we can have an argument here. Then we can have an intelligent debate. My stance had been that, yes, the climate is changing. Whether man is causing it or not, I don't know at this point, but what do we do about it is really what's up for grabs here. I don't even believe that climate change is real at this point. Man-made climate change is real. Because everything that you said was leading to it is not taking us where you're saying it should.
Well, when you have dozens of computer models that all predict a certain amount of warming and all of them overstate it, the typical reaction to that would become more skeptical of the initial idea.
Not to these guys.
They're becoming more sure of it, which is not. I mean, that's not how.
That's not reasonable or rational.
No, and like they can come up with all their justifications later and say, oh well, the oceans are swallowing more of the heat than we thought. Well, you didn't. Then you thought is part of that sentence. You thought something, and that was wrong just a few years ago. And now you've come up with a whole different idea of what's going on.
So you need to follow that with, but we could be wrong. We were wrong last time.
Yeah.
And then we can have a reasonable conversation about it.
They'll never do that.
But they'll never do that.
And Coleman takes them apart pretty well.
But Coleman's platform as a co-founder of a channel dedicated to weather is unique, and so is the channel's declaration that it believes climate change is happening. So this morning, both players are here, Coleman and the CEO of the Weather Channel, David Kenny. First, let me bring in John Coleman. He's in San Diego this morning. Thank you for being here.
I resent you calling me a denier. That is a word meant to put me down. I'm a skeptic about climate change, and I want to make it darn clear, Mr. Kenny's not a scientist. I am. He's the CEO of the Weather Channel now. I was the founder of the Weather Channel, not the co-founder.
And I'm glad I watch a lot of cable news.
Now, hold on just a minute. I'm not done. And CNN has taken a very strong position on global warming that it is a consensus. Well, there is no consensus in science. Science isn't a vote. Science is about facts. Mm-hmm. And if you get down to the hard, cold facts, there's no question about it. Climate change is not happening. There is no significant man-made global warming now. There hasn't been any in the past, and there's no reason to expect any in the future. There's a whole lot of baloney, and yes, it has become a big political point of the Democratic Party and part of their platform, and I regret it's become political instead of scientific, but the science is on my side.
Oh, that's so great. And then Stelter said, well, I guess we're going to have to disagree on that. Well, yeah, I guess you are, because he's a scientist and you're not.
And look, well, by the way, look, just because you're not a scientist doesn't mean you don't have a valid opinion.
No, it doesn't, but all the facts are on the side of this scientist. And yet we're the ones who are told, oh, you're not scientific, you're science deniers. No, there's been no warming in 18 years.
I think the most important thing he said was there is no consensus in science. Mm-hmm. Yeah, science it's not a vote. It's not a vote. The consensus has been wrong on so many things in science. Almost always. Science is almost always wrong. Do you know what Aristotle thought the brain was? I love this. Aristotle thought, because they didn't know. They had no idea what was going on. Think of this. We still don't really know how the brain works. We are still novices. We say that we just grew out of a petri dish. We crawled out of a swamp. This complex system that with every bit of knowledge and all the computing power that we have now on planet Earth, we still could not make it a petri dish to crawl out of a swamp. We still could not make the human body. Do you know what Aristotle said the brain was? The heart, of course, was pumping all the blood, and you get really hot. And so, you lose all that heat at the top of your head. And by looking at the folds of the brain, he's determined that the brain is nothing more than a radiator. All those folds are to disperse the heat out of your body. So all the heat goes up through your neck to the top, to that radiator up there at the top. And that's what all those folds are for in your brain. That's science, gang. That's Aristotle.
He was right on Ed Schultz. In his particular case, it does just release heat. But other than that, I think he was wrong.
I mean, science is wrong every step of the way until they're right. And then
they're
wrong again.
Yeah, but who says? Who makes the determination?
Science.
They get to say that they were wrong before, but no one else can say it at the time.
Right.
And there's a great ad that's out for this campaign season that's being called Very Effective, with Woody Harrelson voicing it. We played this on Patents too.
Oh, play it.
And I don't know if
we have that
handy. I know we did it. The video version.
Woody Harrelson's got to be.
So it basically outlines. They told us the Earth was flat. They told us smoking was okay, and he goes through all of these things that have been
scientists said that.
But that's what he's missing is, and then of course it ends with, and now they tell us global warming's a hoax. But what he's missing about all the things he said previously is they were all scientific consensus until someone came in and said they weren't and got it right.
No. Until somebody came in, said that it wasn't consensus, that it wasn't right, and then that person was banished, killed, made into a pariah.
Yes, you're right.
Called a denier, thrown into jail, thrown into a court, crucified, every step of the way. Those people, they just like say, you know what, I think you're wrong. You didn't carry the one here. Oh, my goodness.
I think this might be
They told us the world was flat and insisted it was the center of the universe. They ignored pollution, said that cigarettes were harmless, that gas was safe, and there was nothing wrong with CFCs. Now they tell us that climate change is a hoax. Some powerful people want to hold us back, but the truth is undeniable. This is a fight.
It's so amazing. It was doctors and scientists each time that said those things weren't true.
Including this time that are saying it is true. Including this time that are telling us that climate change is real. It's all the powerful people. The administration and their so-called scientists are all in consensus.
They're going to be
doing it again.
This is going to be remembered as really the dark ages of science. It's really the dark ages of science.
I will say, too, the added flair of that one is they say powerful people are trying to tell you that this is not true, and they show a picture of the Koch brothers. The ad is funded by Tom Steyer, a Democratic billionaire who does the exact same stuff the Koch brothers do.
Yep.
It's like it's so hypocritical.
Amazing. So amazing.